Well, I suppose one of the things that I noticed when we did this Buddhafield North retreat last year, and I've done quite a lot of retreats, kind of previous sort of solitary retreats and that kind of thing. And the thing that I noticed about when I came to Buddhafield, which is very much more sort of you are out in the elements, was that it was a bit like the retreat went deep very quick because of the setting that we was in. So I suppose it made me think that actually quite a bit of being on solitary retreat was actually something to do with being in nature. I hadn't quite kind of clocked that as much as when I actually got here. Because I think that a lot of it is actually about, well, it is about your mind. Like this, I suppose I can think back to certain periods in my life when I haven't been in a great state of mind. And actually I haven't been able to appreciate things as much. I think it also works the other way around, that actually you can go and be in nature and that can uplift you or can like change your consciousness.
For one thing, it's just a big expanse of space, of countryside here. Just having the space really to practice, and it's also about creating a kind of little Sangha over the weekend. You know, it's amazing how quickly you kind of connect with people, even a short length of time.
Of course, be mindful with a mop.
So it's about that, just coming together and being able to practice again with people that you know, that I don't particularly know as well, meeting new people. So there are a lot of appeals to a camping retreat.
Yeah. Out in the countryside there's a different pace of life. I think in the city it is too intrusive. There's too many things going on that can be intrusive. As well as noise, there's a whole pace of life, really. And I think that there doesn't have to be people around you behaving in that way. The fact that you are in that environment conditions you to behave that way. Whereas when you're in an environment like this, you can let go a bit and things slow down a bit.
We have 7,000 cars pass by my house in the first 2 hours of a day, so we did a planting project on the street where we put troughs with the eucalyptus and flowers and things to slow the traffic down, so it set people's day up nicely as they're going into the city to go to work. They'd see all the flowers and the trees and something to look at, something to see, something they don't want to whiz past. And it's been fantastic just seeing people stopping at the traffic lights and smiling.
I'm not sure about this business of sort of nature just being about being in the countryside. I think nature's wherever you are. So, you know, if you live in a city, you've still got nature. You know, whether you notice it or not, it might be that you're too busy to notice it or too distracted. But I mean, it's always there, and so nature's always around you. I've been involved in Buddhafield now for. I was retreating for about 12 years, and we've been running these Buddhafield North retreats for 9 years. And so you have these periods of intense practice that then just feed back into your daily life. So when I'm back in the small town where I live, it's still very much there. Not as intense, but something in you's been opened up. Because when you practicing in a field with the sun, but also the wind and the rain, you can't help but feel a part of nature, you know. In my back garden, almost suburban garden, I've got a small Buddha rupa, and I've got I think that there must be the original mala beads that I presumably bought about 30 years ago. And they're just very ordinary, but I've got them around the neck of the Buddha, and I still use them. They're made out of wood and tied together with metal, which is quite fortunate because it means they've not rotted. So they've been outside since I moved into this house for 6 years, and in the severe winter some of them have rotted off, so there's no longer 180 of them, so I can get around the Mile of Bees rather quicker than I used to do when I take them off the Buddha Rupa and sit down and meditate with them. And it's just a little ploy, it's a little device just to connect myself. These things have been out in nature, all the time, and I can feel the way the frost has eaten into them, and I can see the way the metal thread is rusting.
Everywhere you look, there's something amazing, really. It's just about seeing it. And
Well, it's looking.
Yeah.
We tend not to look.
Yeah.
I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or of catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, making me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart.
I know from speaking to people who come back year in, year out, that week that they spend with Buddhafield does inspire them for the rest of the year. It does inform what they've got going on, even if they're maybe not sort of following a formal meditation practice. It clearly does open up certain doors to them that does nourish them throughout the year. And that's really very common.
When I first started in getting involved with Buddhism, we had a discussion about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and the order member who was talking to us about it was saying one of the things it's important to remember is going on the Eightfold Path has to really start with a vision that gives you the energy to be able to put effort into it and go with that path. And I think that vision needs renewing, and that energy needs renewing, and experiences like retreats here give you that experience to do that ability to do that.
Well, I suppose we're coming on an actual retreat. What you haven't got is a lot of the other stimulus. So your mobile phone switched off. You haven't got access to a computer. Maybe you're not watching TV. You're probably not taking in much more in the way of kind of like sound. So I suppose what's coming in through your senses has been reduced quite a bit, really. So and then you've got the kind of the beauty of the natural environment, and all of that is a support for actually seeing what's going on in your mind, really. I suppose the more things you've got coming in, the more demands you've got on yourself, the more busy the mind is, and well, obviously you work with whatever's happening in your experience, but there is something about being on retreat which does allow your mind to settle a lot more, really.